Yeah.
Okay, let us humble ourselves for the word of prayer. Dear loving Father, we thank you for this new day. We thank you for the gift of life. All here who are around, we pray that God, you help us in this session. You guide us, Holy Spirit, to understand each and everything that teachers are going to teach us, to help us on that last day we are going to do the paper of geography, so that we remember each and everything they told us. We call upon your Holy Spirit to lead us in the whole session. We call your understanding. Thank you, Jesus, for this session. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen.
Amen. Thank you so much for the word of prayer, Proscovia. Allow me now to
You're
welcome
welcome, sir.
facilitator, Teacher Flavia. You're most welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Kaziba. Good afternoon, dear students. I hope you can hear me. Anyone to put up their hand if they can hear me? Okay, thank you. Now I have hands up that you can hear me. My name is Teacher Flavia Seriange, a geography teacher, and today we are here to have our session, our facilitation for geography. I want to assure us that I'm not going to teach new things. I'm just polishing probably what we already know as we plan and prepare ourselves for the UNEB exams that are coming very soon in October. It's my prayer that we're all getting ready for our UNEB exams. And it's also my prayer that every one of us who is here will be able to excel in their exams. Proscovia, thank you very much for the opening prayer. And I want to share my screen and look at Mr. Kaziba. There's someone. Proscovia, have you shared a screen? I can't. I seem not to be in position to share mine.
Let me do something. Oh, it is yours, Teacher Flavia. It is your
Yes?
screen. It is your
Yes.
screen.
Yes, it is my
Okay.
screen.
Now, is it in PowerPoint or PDF?
No, it's actually a photograph that I want to share with them and we discuss something.
Okay, maybe can you go where it is?
Right now, I'm actually where it is.
You can share again.
There seems to be another screen.
Another screen. Okay, let me.
That's what I'm seeing from here.
Okay, your screen is coming on. It is your screen. Ah,
Mm-hmm.
okay. I'm seeing, I think the photo is this side down.
There seem to be so many screens, and now for it is so small.
Okay, can you click in it, that photo?
I've clicked.
Okay, now what I think we can do,
Mm,
okay, you can first stop the sharing.
okay.
Okay, now when you, okay, you share again and then you pick the screen, the entire screen, that option.
Seems to be doing the same thing.
Mm. Okay, then can you pick the photo and we see now?
I pick the photo. Unfortunately, I'm not seeing anything.
Oh,
So shows something that is blank. Maybe I should share it with you, and
okay,
you. That would be better.
okay,
Let me send it to you on WhatsApp, and you share.
okay, okay.
Done. Let me stop sharing here.
Yeah.
Sorry about that, students, but we're getting there.
Do you want the whole question or just the photo?
Everything, because they need to read the questions as
Okay,
we discuss. Yes. So as we wait for Mr. Kaziba, I want to remind us that in our geography paper, we have those two compulsory numbers. Section A is compulsory. Please have that in mind even when you don't read the instructions. Just know that section 1 is compulsory, section A. However, it is a very good habit for us to read the instructions. So make sure you read the instructions. So today, we are mainly going to focus on item 2 in our geography paper. Item 2 is usually about photographic interpretation, and we shall be given different, and probably we have already seen different forms of photographs. When you look at the screen, we have a photograph there. I don't know if any one of us is familiar with this place or have seen it before. I want to bring to our attention that this photograph is actually coming from the Namirembe mock paper that was done last term. And when you look at that photograph, it has so many features in it. And this is where I want to focus today. I want to focus on this photograph, and I want to get information from us that will help me to know how much we know about photographic interpretation. First of all, when you're given a photograph, please don't rush it to it. First, study and understand what is there. Read the scenario of that item before you actually look at the photograph. First, read the scenario. I want to read the scenario to us because it's not on the screen. And it says, you carried out a geography study trip to find out how the industry affects the physical and human environment of the area. You interviewed people working in the factory and those living near the factory. You made observations and also took photographs of the area. You found out that the factory has contributed a lot to the development of the area. However, the majority of the people living near the factory are still living a misery life. That was our scenario. And then we're given this photograph as our support material. In most cases, especially if they give us the ground photographs, please be sure that they're going to ask you to draw. Usually when we go to the task, they're going to ask us to draw. But what is it that you are supposed to draw? So here comes the question. I want someone to guide us, given the photograph before us. And item 1 is asking us to draw a sketch photograph. What is it that we're supposed to focus on? Kata?
Madam, for the
Yes.
first step to do that we are going to do on the photograph, we first divide it into 3 equal parts.
Okay.
We divide it in two parts, the foregrounds, the background and the middle ground. But each ground has its own centers, like the right foreground, the middle foreground, the left foreground. In the middle, we have the middle center ground, the right middle ground, and the left middle ground. And the same issue is taken to the background, the right background, the central background, and the left background.
Okay. Thank you very much for that input. And I want to agree with him. However, before you show us the different parts of the photograph, I feel we should first draw the shape of the photograph before you, which is going to act as your frame for that photograph. After you have drawn the frame, then probably you get into putting the different parts of the photograph. Am I still on?
Yes.
Okay. So I'm saying that after you put the different parts of the photograph, you could actually focus on putting the main 3, like you had said. Put the foreground, the middle ground, and the background. However, let
Okay,
those
madam.
lines be very faint, okay? Let them be very
Yes.
faint. And of course, we're putting them there to guide us to know where we're putting the different features that are in the photograph. Okay?
Yes, madam. Madam,
Yes.
I had a question. Our teacher told us
Yes.
that while drawing this photograph, we can trace. Is it possible or it's not advisable?
It is not advisable for us to trace because in any case, they have told you to draw, okay?
Yes.
Usually there are times when they give us photographs and we're supposed to do the tracing, and these are usually the aerial photographs because they know that some of the features are not very clear. So sometimes they give you tracing paper and you trace that photograph. However, for the land or the ground photographs, we want you to draw, not to trace. Okay? So if
Okay,
in the
madam.
examination room they have not given you the tracing paper, please do not ask for it. Okay?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you, madam.
Muchibi, you also have a question or a submission? Muchibi, I'm seeing your hand up.
Yes, madam.
Do you have a submission on how to draw
When
the
you are,
photograph?
I have a submission and a question.
Okay.
Let me begin with the question.
Hmm.
So, madam, how do you identify a type of a photograph? And which reasons can you give? For example, that one.
Hmm.
If they ask you to give which type of photograph is that, with the reasons, which reasons can you give to defend your type? And also, my submission was we have to begin with the skyline as we are drawing our photograph. You have to show the outline of a skyline clearly. That's it.
Okay, Muchibi, before you actually go off, I want to also ask and throw back this to you. How many types of photographs do you know?
I know about two, ground and aerial. But
Exactly.
again, the confusion comes in the subtypes. When it comes to ground photograph, there's
Hmm.
ground area, ground oblique, ground close up. There.
Hmm.
That's why I find
Okay.
confusion. Yeah.
Oh, okay. That is very good. Before I answer that, the question that Muchibi has asked, I assume we have all had the question. And Victoria, do you have something to say about Muchibi's question?
No, madam. I had a question.
You have a question. Okay, we shall get back to yours after I've answered Muchibi's question. So, how do I know the type of photograph? First of all, he has answered that we have two types of photographs. We have the aerial photographs and we also have the ground photographs. Underground photographs, we have those are close-up photographs. How do you know that this is a close-up photograph? When you look at a close-up photograph, you would find that the features that are in the foreground appear to be bigger than those in the background and probably the middle ground. Reason being that the cameraman, wherever he was standing, he was close to these objects. So if there were, for example, when you look at this photograph, we have some heaps of logs in the middle ground. If they were in the foreground, they would appear to be very clear and very big. Why? Because while someone was taking that photograph, they were standing next to them. Okay? Then the ground oblique, you'd find that for it was taken from an angle. And therefore, where the camera was focusing, you'd find that those features would seem to be clearer than all the others. For instance, when I look at the photograph before us, it's mainly ground oblique photographs. And you can actually see and look at which angle the cameraman was standing while they were taking this photograph. Michibi, I hope I've answered your question.
Yes, madam.
Then about the skyline, you had the submission that your teacher said when you are drawing, you start with the skyline. However, when, for example, you read the task below, part A, it is saying draw the landscape sketch. We are looking at the ground. That is where our interest is, the ground, not the skyline. Are we together? So even
Yes.
I know as we are dividing the photograph into three, definitely we shall have that part of the skyline, but our interest is with the feature that is there. The skyline is not going to be a feature, okay?
Yes.
Okay. Victoria, over to you. Victoria, are you there?
Um, Thank you, madam. My question is simply about the title. Usually, when I'm like giving the title, I always mention every single thing that I'm like drawing. I don't know if there's a way you summarize it, or you're supposed to mention every single thing that is included in the diagram. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Victoria. So here we're looking at the title of the photograph. After you have drawn the frame and probably you have put the different the parts of the photograph, now want to focus on the title. How do we write the title? I want to advise. But before I advise, is there anyone in the class that can actually help us to understand how should our title be? Yes, Proscovia.
Our title should be in capital letters and should contain all the, for instance, for this one, they told us to draw a land sketch of the area, started showing the different and land uses and in the area. Our title should be like a landscape sketch of the area in the photograph, showing the different land uses. That's mine.
Thank you very much, Proscovia. And
Welcome,
I want
teacher.
to agree with Proscovia that Victoria, when you're writing the title, focus on the task. What is the task asking you? Okay? Because sometimes you might want to list everything that is in the photograph, but then at the end of the day, you actually even mention things that are not supposed to be there according to the task. So you need to know what is the task asking you to include in the photograph. If you get that one right, it is okay for you to list them, okay? However, what is very important in your title, we are saying it should be a landscape sketch of the area of the photograph. The word area, because there's that specific area that we are seeing in the photograph, should come out clearly. If, for example, someone said a landscape sketch photograph showing land uses, that person will not get a mark for the title because the word area is missing. It is very important. So it should be a landscape sketch of the area in the photograph showing land uses. Are we together? That is how you're supposed to write your title. Now, if I go back to Victoria, when you're saying you want to mention what is in here, first of all, you have to know, you identify the type of land uses that are there. You first probably outline them on your question paper or on a rough piece of paper. Outline the land uses, because you might mention a certain land use in your title, yet it is actually not in the photograph. For example, I saw someone saying that there is a transport route somewhere and one of the land use was transport. Are we seeing any transport route anywhere in this photograph? Is any one of us seeing a transport route?
No.
So kindly and kindly, it is important for you. How come I'm getting feedback? It is important for you to read the task and probably just include what is in the task, because now this task is saying we should be showing the different land uses, and you stop at that. You don't have to mention them. When you mention them, it would be very okay, but you risk, if you make a mistake, the entire mark would be lost. Okay? Catherine, do you have a question?
Yes, I have a question. On
Yes, Catherine.
when you talked about when they say, maybe for example, if the question is saying showing only two land use types, so that means other things are, for example, if I see a tree, should I include it or I leave it? I only draw my landscape sketch, but when it's only showing the what, the land use types, then also how will that title be?
If a question or a test is going to ask us to only show two land use, that means they're also going to ask us to show other features, not only the land uses. Okay? But in most cases, it's general. They leave it open. You include the land uses, and therefore, for you, your task is to first look at the photograph and see, in this case, how many land uses are you seeing there? Looking at this photograph, for example, can someone help me identify the different land uses that you're seeing? Rahim. Over to you, Rahim. Now, I'm seeing people in the chat putting industrialization. Someone's talked about settlements. I've also seen someone talking about transport. Kindly guide me where the transport route is. Lisa is saying transport. Air transport. Where is the air transport? Where? I'm not seeing it anywhere. Someone is saying forestry. Yes, because we are seeing when you look at the left, I don't know if it's your left. Yes, it's my left. Middle ground and background, we are seeing some trees there. Then we can afford to talk about forestry. Okay. Someone is saying they're only seeing one tree. These are actually, you cannot say that this is just one tree. There are several of them, okay? Then also in the background, we are also seeing behind that building, we are seeing another forest there. There's so many trees. So that is also giving us evidence that there is actually forestry in that photograph. Someone talked about agriculture. Are we seeing any crops? Are we having any crops in that photograph? Yes, we do have industrialization, because we're seeing in the right middle ground, we are seeing the industry, okay? And therefore the activity or the land use is industrialization. Please make sure you write industrialization, not industry. Industry is a feature, and then industrialization is the activity. And for this case, they're asking for land use. So we talk about industrialization, not industry. Still asking and wanting to know, are we seeing any crops in this photograph? I'm not seeing any crops. I don't know if there's anyone who can see any of the crops. So in this case, you do not talk about agriculture. because we're not seeing any crops. We're seeing some bushy part of the land in the background, but it's not evidence that they are what? They are crops. Unless if you can clearly see them that they are crops, then you talk about agriculture. In the chat, someone is asking, how many minimum responses are you supposed to give? Minimum, not even maximum. In this case, I can't give an answer to that question. Why? Because it depends on what is in the photograph. For example, so far we have seen only 3 land uses: industrialization, forestry, and then settlement. That's what we have seen. So if I was to lie to you and say give 5, I cannot ask for 5 when I've given you a photograph that is not giving me the 5. Any other land use that we are seeing?
Madam,
Yes.
okay, I don't know if it's very clear, but as if I'm seeing some transmission wires.
Transmission wires. I actually want to agree with you. When you look at where we have on the left side, where we have the tree, we can see the electric pole there. Okay? And therefore, that one we're going to talk about, someone might talk about electrification, but I'll talk about communication probably. We put it because we're looking out for the land use. So we talk about communication. Very good. Thank you for that observation. So far we have 4 main activities. Someone had a question which has vanished from my head, but it's somewhere in the chat. Someone is talking about tourism as an activity. Tourism as an activity. What do you think, the rest of us? I don't know which evidence someone is going to give us for us to know that there is actually tourism. I wouldn't focus on that, okay? We don't have any evidence for tourism. But someone again in the chat said, but this photograph is ambiguous. I want to agree with you. But if it is the one that has been put before you, then you're not going to write that as a point, okay? Focus on what has been given to you and study that. Okay? You're even lucky that these days even UNEB is giving us colored photographs. Before they used to be black and white. Okay? So you focus on the photograph that has been given to you. Don't worry about it being funny and what. Just study the photograph and respond to the answers that are required, okay? So here, first of all, we said we write our title, we draw the frame of the photograph, we put the different parts of the photograph, and then you start drawing the features that are representing the land use. You draw the features that are representing the land use. Someone is saying that tourism, it's because of the forest. Probably yes, but that is a bit far-fetched. Because even the industry will then give us tourism, okay? And they're asking for the land use. What are they using the land for? Right now is what we are focusing on. That is why we're not going to agree with tourism. So I was saying now you begin drawing the features. But dear students, please draw the actual pictures. Don't use symbols. If we're talking about forests, we want to see the trees. You want to see the trees. If you're talking about settlements, let's see the settlements. If it is a house, probably please draw a house, a picture of a house, not any other thing or using a symbol. The factory, how is it different from settlements? We want to see those pillars that we are seeing at the factory, and then we shall be able to tell that this is a factory. Draw actual pictures. Okay? But in this case, our photograph, they've said we are showing the land use. We do not have a land use for those heaps of logs that are somewhere in front of the industry. And therefore we shall not be drawing them, only put what is required. Okay? I go back to questions. Apollo? Chiza, Apollo, your hand is up.
Good afternoon, madam. Good afternoon, madam.
Good afternoon, Apollo.
I was like another land use activity when I look into okay, it's now in like the middle ground, but on the in the central, I see that there is that it's like sugarcane plantation, isn't it, madam?
That is what we are saying. It is like, okay? Remember, we talked about not having agriculture because we are seeing that bushy part of the area. We're not very sure about the sugar cane or whether it is a bush. But because it's not clear, then we shall not talk about farming or agriculture or crop growing.
Okay.
Okay?
Yes.
Gloria, you also have a question?
Teacher, thank you, but I'm quite confused about communication and the electric poles. I thought communication talk about it if we saw like telephone masts and then transport routes, like how the electric poles connect to this. Thank you.
When you look what we are seeing a pole, okay? We are not sure whether it is for electricity or it is actually a telephone mask, okay? That is why I said either I'm going to say electrification as a land use or we are actually saying communication, okay? Because of the presence of that pole, though I would also pose a question and say, which land use is that? Then it's going to depend on how you're going to term it. Someone would talk about electrification because of it being an electric pole, or it could be telephone, and therefore it becomes a communication line. Okay? Before I go to another question, someone in the chat said, do we have to have a key for the photograph? And Hope, I want Hope to answer this. Someone from Hope? Okay, Ivan? Ivan, do you want to answer this? There's someone in the chat. Ivan, what are you saying? Ivan, no, you're not talking. Maria? Maria, you want to tell us?
Label the features directly on the photograph, on the landscape sketch.
Okay, thank you, Maria. So people want to emphasize this, what Maria has just said. When it comes to drawing a photograph, you must label on the photograph. if we're going to label on the photograph, then that means we don't need to have a key. Please don't use a key. Just label on the photograph. Whatever you draw, label. And when you are seeing, for example, trees, do not call them vegetation. Okay? Do not call them vegetation. What you are seeing are trees, and therefore write trees. If you are saying grass, let's have grass instead of saying vegetation. Again, someone is asking, do we draw a boundary? For the photograph, we already have the boundary, which is our frame. So you're not going to provide another boundary. There is no need for you to provide another boundary. That is just enough. The one that is giving us the shape of the photograph. Again, another question someone's asking, do we have to draw everything in the photograph? The answer is no. Don't draw everything in the photograph. In this case, when you look at our task, because it's asking only for the land use. However, if the question was asking us to show the physical and human features, then I'm afraid you'd be required to draw everything in that case. Okay? If it is asking for physical and human features, because you first have to outline on your rough piece of paper, outline the physical, outline the human. So when you put them on the photograph, just know at least I have 3 physical and 3 human. Why? Because if I'm giving a mark, I'm not going to give generally. I would say I need 3 for physical, I need 3 for human for you to be able to get all the marks. If you gave me 5 physical and probably 1 or 2 human, yet I needed 3, the other one would not compensate. You would still then miss a mark, and therefore you don't get that mark for the excellent student. Okay? Someone again asks, do we have to provide a compass direction? For the photograph, no, you don't need to have a compass direction. So in this case for a photograph, the CKs are usually 3. Okay? The CKs are 3. One is a complete title. You must have a complete title. We already looked at the title, a landscape sketch of the area of the photograph showing land uses. 2, you must have a frame. The boundary of that photograph is your frame. And then 3, you must label. You label on the photograph. So if I see that you have labeled on the photograph, then you have the 3rd CK. And for you to be that excellent student, it is a must that you must have the 3 CKs. If you don't have them, then you move to the next level of performance. They give you the next score. You don't get the highest score, even when you have all the land uses placed in their areas on the photograph. Praskovia, you have a question?
Yes, madam, I have a question.
Yes, I'm listening.
My question is, yeah, when they give you a question like giving evidence from the photograph, identify the activities around the water body that have affected the surrounding environment and illustrate the area shown on the photograph. You first identify those activities and again you draw the landscape sketch, or I need your guidance on such a question if at all it comes.
Please repeat the question.
The question is, giving evidence from the photograph, identify the activities around the water body that have affected the surrounding environment and illustrate the area shown on the photograph. It is like 2-in-1 question, yeah?
I'm also seeing that it is 2-in-1, but
Yeah.
I can illustrate and also show the different activities carried out around the water body. Okay.
Now, teacher, which means you just draw the landscape sketch. You don't first list them.
No, I want to see them on the photograph. When you put them on the
That's all.
photograph, already you have listed them. Yes.
Okay. Thank you so much, teacher.
You're welcome. Who else is there? I'm seeing Hope integrated. Someone has a question under that?
Yes, madam.
Oh.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I would like to ask about labeling. I see there are two positions of forestry on the photograph. So on labeling, is it can I name one, not all, since they are all trees?
Yes, you can actually label one. But even if you drew both of them and you labeled forestry as a land use, it would still give us 1 mark.
Okay, thank you, madam.
So even if you have one and then you label that one. Okay. There's MC7201. Actually, I don't know if it's Catherine or I think it's Catherine or anyway,
Excuse
whoever
me,
it
madam.
is. Yes.
Yes. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Madam, there is a situation when they tell you to describe the relief of an area when they haven't told me to draw the landscape sketch. Do I need to draw the sketch or I just describe the relief?
Usually when it comes to the photograph and they've not mentioned, they don't want you to draw, but you are describing, then you're not going to draw. Though it's also very common for you to be asked to draw a landscape sketch and show the relief of the area. Okay?
So, madam, how can I show the relief?
How can you show the relief? First of all, you need to know that when they talk about relief, they're talking about the general appearance of the landscape. So under relief, for example, for the photograph, you could be having a steep slope somewhere. They could be gentle slopes, flat land, maybe there is a valley, okay? And anything else under the relief, okay? So when you look at your photograph, you need now to identify, do I have gentle slopes somewhere? So as you're drawing, try to illustrate a gentle slope and label that it's a gentle slope, okay? If it is a steep slope, because there are areas where you have a steep slope, at the same time you also have gentle slopes, okay? Let's have the two written there. Flat land, right flat land. If it is a valley, yes, you indicate that there is a valley in this area. But with that, you would have described the relief.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. This one, Melisha. Melisha, you have a question?
Madam.
Yes.
Am I supposed to label like the different parts of the photograph after me sketching, like after me drawing it? Am I supposed to label like the left background, all that stuff?
No, you are not supposed to. I've seen people doing that when they draw the photograph, they want to label the different parts of the photograph and actually forget about the actual task that you are asked. Because if you're going to label the different parts, you might end up forgetting to put the land uses or the physical and human features. Okay? So even when you have demarcated and shown us the different parts, you don't have to go ahead and then you also label them, because you're not going to be given a mark for that one. They're just to help you place the features in the right place. Okay? Catherine?
I have a question on the frame.
Question on?
About the frame.
Yes, what is your question?
Okay, when we are drawing, do we measure or we just draw the one that is bigger for features to fit in?
Oh, thank you. You're drawing a sketch. So when you're drawing a sketch, you do not measure anything, okay? But I want to encourage us, if they ask us to draw, kindly don't draw a very small sketch, okay? I always tell my students, use about 3/4 of the page. 3/4 of the page, or at least half that page, but not a very tiny one, okay? Though you're not going to have any measurements.
Then
So
also
draw a
on
reasonable size so that the features can clearly fit and we can clearly see them.
okay. Then also on that question regarding the showing relief of an area, so that means for that one I will only draw those features showing the relief, not everything.
If that is what they've asked for, because I can ask for relief and vegetation. Okay?
Okay.
Yes, that means you're going to give me the different relief features that are there, and then you also give me the different types of vegetation that is there. And when I say vegetation, I'm sure that there are different types. There's maybe you are seeing the trees. Someone talked about the palm leaf up there. Then we are seeing the grass in the foreground. Okay, so that means you're going to label grass, trees, palm leaves, and whatever you are seeing, not just generalizing it and saying vegetation. Okay?
Yes.
There's Samsung S something. Yes, I'm coming to part B. Let's conclude on part A.
Excuse me, madam.
Yes.
I have a question.
Please go ahead and
Like,
ask.
like on that part A for drawing the landscape sketch, there are chances where they tell us to draw the landscape sketch of the area in the photograph without telling us whether to indicate the land use types or the physical and human features. So how should we state our title?
How are you going to state your title? You're going to state your title according to what you have put in that photograph. I think it was Victoria who asked if for her she's going to outline whatever she has put there. Okay? So this is the point where you're going to outline whatever you have included in the photograph. But I know these examiners, they would want to focus on something and they'll ask, because they don't want you to draw each and everything in the photograph, okay? So usually they state what they want you to see. Someone is saying, I can't see the forest. Kindly look through the building and where the industry is behind that building and see if you can't see any trees there. Mr. Kaziba, please help us to, she's not seeing the forest. Okay, just to summarize, for part A, where you are supposed to draw, if they ask us to draw a landscape sketch, kindly take note that you must provide a title, a complete title. You must provide a frame. You must you must label on the photograph. 2, draw the shape of the photograph, the way it appears in the question paper. draw the shape of a photograph. With faint lines, demarcate the different parts of a photograph to help you place the features in the right place, and then draw the different features. Draw the actual pictures, not using symbols. If you use symbols, you lose all the marks. So kindly draw the actual pictures as you're seeing them in the photograph. And with that, you'll be done with part A. Okay? But maybe some other thing is when they ask us to draw, what is the interest? Where is the interest? You must understand. Are they asking for land uses? Are they asking for physical and human? Or are they asking for only human? Okay? So that means you have to read the task and you know what they want you to put in the photograph. Okay? With that, you would be good to score all the marks. Okay? Please, especially when it comes to physical and human, do not limit yourself because you do not know the weight of that question. Okay? If you give very few, you might end up losing marks and you're saying, but I drew the photograph very well. I put there everything. No, there's items you left out. That is why I said I would advise us to even outline them and make sure that you have put them on your drawing. Okay? That is for part A.
Before you go to Chafravia, I've seen these two hands have been up for Alessia and Gavania. Maybe they can
Okay.
first ask.
Okay. Who is coming first?
Alessia?
Good afternoon, teacher.
Good afternoon.
I was just going to ask about, there's a question someone brought up and they said if they ask you to describe the relief of the photograph given to you, and then you told them it wasn't necessary to draw, but you could just describe. How do you describe the relief?
Alicia, that is not what I said. I said that when they ask us to represent relief on our photograph, you are definitely going to draw. But because we said you might not draw that very steep hill, okay? But you have seen that there is a steep slope. Please indicate where the steep slope is, okay? Remember, we said we are drawing what we are seeing. So you draw, if it is a steep slope, we want to see that it's a steep slope. If we say gentle slopes, we want to see that they're gentle slopes. Where there is a flat land, indicates that it's flat land because we're talking in terms of relief. Okay? That same question can actually appear in part B after you have drawn and the focusing on relief in part B. And I'm going to talk about that when I come to part B. Okay? How do we describe the relief then?
Okay, thank you.
Gavania? Good afternoon.
Madam, I have a question about vegetation. Now, in the vegetation, they are naming in the photograph. They put a lot of names.
Yes, if the question is asking you to show the vegetation types, then believe me, there are about 3 or 4 vegetation types in that photograph. Okay? Someone is saying
Another
in
thing,
the chat what is a forest, but we are saying if you have a combination of trees, then it becomes a forest, okay? Or you could just write trees. It is also okay. It is a type of vegetation, okay? Grass is a type of vegetation. We are saying another thing is what?
now, the boundary lines that you have put on the photograph, so another thing to show that the photograph is inside. Oh, that's the frame.
That is enough. You don't have to put another frame. That is just enough. But if you ever draw that photograph and you don't complete that frame, I'm afraid you don't get the marks. Okay? People have a tendency, Mr. Kaziba, just help me probably on the left side, you remove the boundary line. People have a tendency of drawing when it's incomplete, imagining that the line, that's imaginary line on the paper is actually your boundary. No, it has to be complete. If you don't finish it, they would not give you marks. Okay? Make sure you have the 4 lines drawn to close up that photograph. If you draw 3 or 2 and then on the sides you don't draw, believe me, your photograph is incomplete and they will not give you marks, or they will subtract and not give you all the marks for the CKs. Okay. There is also Israel. Israel, is it still to do with part A? Israel, are you there?
I'm there, teacher.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to know that are there some features that are must to be drawn? For example, grass. Grass has to appear in almost all photographs. So even if you're not asked to draw it, is it a must for you to draw it?
No, it's not a must that you have to draw the grass whenever it appears, unless if it's one of the features that you have to put there. Okay? For example, in this case, they asked us for the land use. That grass might be natural, that has grown on its own. I know even the trees are natural, okay? But it's not, it doesn't indicate any land use. Okay? So unless if it's one of the features that you're supposed to put there, for example, if we're talking about vegetation, then you put it, okay? However, if that's not the case, no. Someone is asking about drawing the horizon, not necessary. Because it's not part of the land, okay? I think that's enough for part A, which is usually required us to draw that sketch photograph, okay? Then we move on to part B. Part B here is saying, explain the conclusions you made about the relationship between the physical environment and the land use in the area. Physical environment and the land use. So here, before anything, the first thing we must understand, this part B is related and it's part of the photograph, okay? Therefore, whatever you say, you must, it is a must that you show us, you mention that, the part of the photograph where the focus is. You refer to the photograph. If you do not mention the parts of the photograph, then you don't have the AP. The application is not there. And if the application is not there, believe me, you'd score the minimum score even when you have like 7 points. Focus on the application, okay? And this one will bring back the parts of the different photographs. That is the evidence that you are going to give. It has to come from the parts of the different photographs, okay? That is one. Then they are talking about physical environment. Someone help us to understand what they mean by the physical environment. In this case, when you look at that photograph, what should we focus on? The physical environment. Collins. Someone is saying they're not getting me. Is that so?
You're clear.
Good evening, madam.
Yes, how are you?
I'm fine. How are you, madam?
Yes, so when they talk
What?
about the physical environment, what is it that we're talking about?
The physical features within the photograph.
The physical features, okay.
All
Someone is saying we
things.
should be talking about the physical features. Chibi, is it the same thing with you? Muchibi, you have the floor.
The physical features, I would say it's the relief in this case.
Okay.
The flatland, the lowland, like that.
Okay, so dear students, in this case, when we look at this photograph and they're talking about the physical environment, they're talking about the relief. Okay? In our photograph, I want to agree. I want to look at your chart. Please, can you help me describe the relief that you're seeing in the photograph? I'm looking at the chart and I'll take note. Someone is noting the lowland. There is a hill. When you say a slope, you need to be highland, flatland, yes. We have the gentle slopes. Is there a valley? Can someone see a valley? Someone is mentioning the valley. Steep slope. No steep slope per se, but we have the gentle slope. Someone talking about a plateau. Okay. Thank you very much for those that have responded. But I want to bring to your attention that when I look at the relief in this photograph, yes, in the foreground, we can see the flat land, which would also refer to someone who said the lowland. We have the gentle slopes, mainly in the middle ground. Even where we have the factory itself, we can see that those are gentle slopes, not really flat land. I'm yet to see the valley. I'm not seeing the valley. But someone mentioned that there was a valley. Do we see a valley anywhere? So to me, we mainly have the gentle slopes and also have the flat land. Okay? So after knowing the relief in the area, the flat land can also be the lowland, Mr. Kaziba. After knowing the relief of the area, now look at the activity. Okay? Remember, we already have the land use in part A. Okay? So we need to mention, and we are saying where, for example, we have a gentle slope, there is an industry. Okay? There is an industry. And now want to see what is the reason that has favored the existence of that industry. Okay? Now in this case, the relief, the physical environment is the CK. Okay? Then the application is where that relief is found on the photograph. And then 3, which is the CU, the understanding. What is the reason for that activity to be there? Because you already have the land use on part A, I'm not giving even the CU for the activity, the CK not for the activity, but it is the relief, then the evidence from the photograph, and why you think that activity or that land use is actually in that area. Someone is saying the lowland has encouraged industrialization in the right middle ground. People, are we together? Am I communicating? Someone is saying pardon. I want to put emphasis. Part B, whatever the question is, let's not even first focus on this one. Whatever the question is asking us to do, you must come up with the evidence from the photograph. We want to see the right, the left, middle ground, background, foreground coming through. And that is the application. That is the evidence that is going to make you score marks. Okay? Then, again, the other thing we must put emphasis on, there is a scenario where you're going to have the CK, you also have the AP, but you don't have the CU. The understanding, you have not given us a reason. Believe me, you still cannot get the highest score. So we need the 3 to be there. Someone is keeping on saying in the chat that pardon, pardon. I don't know pardon about what. Because I've not gone into the detail of part B, but I'm putting the emphasis where it should be. Someone is saying the lowland has encouraged settlement in the middle ground. Now, what is lacking in that one? The CU is lacking. You're not going to talk about farming because we didn't have it under our land use. Okay? We didn't have it under our land use. So the other one was saying that the flat land has encouraged settlement in the right, I don't know if it was middle ground or foreground. Now I'm saying the CU is missing. The explanation is missing. Why do you think in that right middle ground, because it has a flat surface or landscape, it is favorable for construction of settlement? So it's not about, you've mentioned the activity, true, but now want the reason, because the flat land can easily encourage construction of buildings or settlement areas. Are we together? Mr. Kaziba, I don't know if these hands went down, but I'm seeing the same hands that were there before.
Let me pick Anne. And I
Yes.
first. And you
Yes,
can
Anne,
go
go
on.
ahead.
Good afternoon, teacher.
Good afternoon.
Yes. So the construction of the industry has been encouraged along the lowland, along the gentle slopes, because it is easy and cheap to clear, like to clear the land for construction.
Okay, that's very okay. Thank you.
Yes.
Mochibi, are you also giving us a point?
I have a question about the order of the answer.
The order?
For example, the order of the answer. For example, someone might say settlement is found on the flat land. Then the other can say the flat land has encouraged settlement. Who is who? Are the two people right, or there is a penalty for that?
One, they will not penalize you for that, okay? But the first one is better. When I mention the activity, where it is in terms of relief, and giving the evidence, that is the AP, and then the reason. So whether the AP comes first or the reason, it doesn't matter, okay? The examiner is supposed to read your entire paragraph and see where to put the CK, the AP, and then the CU. Okay?
Okay. Thank you, madam.
Yes. Now, there is a point that can also come out under this, especially our task, okay? That's physical environment and land uses, where I'm saying industrialization is done near the forested area, okay, in the middle ground, because the forests provide cheap timber as raw materials. And we're already seeing in the middle, in the foreground, part of the foreground, we are seeing those logs, and behind the industry, we are seeing the forest. When you look at that one, somewhere we have not mentioned the relief. But the appearance of the forest also attracted the construction of the industry there for easy access to raw materials. So first of all, when you look at what Mr. Kazba has done for us, he has demarcated off, and we have the sub parts of the photograph. Remember the main three: forward, middle, and then background. Then we'll have the other 9 smaller parts, okay? So if you, for example, you talk about us having a forest in the foreground, of course, that one is not right, and therefore that might mark the end of that point. So you really need to be very observant. Mr. Kaziba, there are some unpleasant comments in the chat. They're talking about TikTok and other things. I don't understand them.
Signature.
So, my emphasis with part B, kindly make sure you refer to the photograph. The AP must clearly come out. That is where the mark is. We have already seen the land uses in part A. So now I want to see the evidence from the photograph. Okay? If you do that, then you have the marks. Again, somewhere someone had a question, I don't remember the person, about relief. How do you describe relief? And I said it's possible to ask us to describe the relief in part B. Okay? So when we are asked to describe the relief in part B, again, we have seen the flatland or the lowlands. Good afternoon. We have seen the gentle slopes. A certain photograph might even have the steep slopes, okay? So here you are describing that relief, but also giving us the evidence. Take us to the photograph. Which part of the photograph do we have the gentle slopes? Which part of the photograph do we have the steep slopes? Okay? When you get that one, that we are actually supposed to give the evidence from the photograph, then part B is going to be very important. However, also get to understand that we need an explanation for whatever you are giving. It's from the explanation that we'll be able to get the CU. Okay? Any other questions for me?
Yes, teacher.
Yes, please go ahead.
Teacher. Teacher, I'm seeing the forest behind the house. It's on the line between the middle and between the middle ground and the foreground. So like where it so like in which part of the photograph is it?
The forest. The forest
Yes.
is mainly, of course, from that point, we are seeing it mainly in the middle ground, okay?
Okay.
It's mainly in the middle ground.
Okay, teacher.
Any questions? Mr. Kaziba?
Yes, Madam Friday. Yes.
I've shared another paper.
Okay.
We could probably also look at that photograph in that paper, item 2.
Okay. There are some other children with hands up.
Me.
Good afternoon, teacher. Good afternoon, teacher.
Good afternoon, teacher. I would like to ask about like when you're telling us about drawing the photograph, you told us we draw what we see, right? You told us we draw what we see, but you told us when we find like a building, for example, a building, it's like industrialization. Should we draw the industry that we are actually seeing, or should we draw in a form of a house that will represent the the industry? Yes.
A minute. A minute. Oh. Teacher Flavia, you're muted.
What?
Just a minute. She's getting back.
Okay. So I was saying that when you draw and you only draw the house, might not really represent the industry, okay? But from our previous photograph where we had the industry, we also had those other pillars that actually give out smoke, okay? So when you
Yes.
put them there, then that would be an industry.
But it's kind of complex to what we're supposed that first we shall bring out something that is actually clear. First to bring out something that is actually clear.
Draw what you're seeing, provided at the end of the day with your drawing, what I don't want is for you to use a certain symbol, okay? Draw,
Okay.
even if it doesn't come out properly, remember you're going to label the land use, okay?
Yes.
So then the examiner would understand that this is, and the examiner is also seeing that it's an industry.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Emanuela? Emanuela, are you there? Manuela, are you there? Yes, how are
How
you?
are you, teacher? Okay,
Fine, how are you?
madam, whenever they
Mm.
tell, in this question, they've asked us to relate from physical to human activity, right? Then what if they tell you to relate from human activity to physical
Aha.
environment?
Not really. That's not possible, okay? It is usually the physical environment that would determine the activities that can be carried out. So it cannot be the other
Okay,
way around.
okay, okay, sir, madam. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Catherine? Catherine, are you there?
So in that question, in that picture, I'm seeing a forest at the same time a tree. So can I label forest and tree or only one?
If you're going to label a tree, then that is not a land use. Remember, they asked for land use, okay? The trees that we're seeing, the land use they're giving us is forestry.
Okay, what
If
I
we see
meant if the
crops,
question, if it's general, just
physical and human, yeah? I would have the trees, I would have, but even if I have trees and then I have forest, it would be one mark.
okay.
Angel? Angel?
Madam.
Mm.
Madam.
Yes.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon to you.
For me, my point was, if I say like this, that the industry in the left middle part of the photograph, like it has supported employment in a way that it gives jobs to engineers. So does that come out or?
Because now you're giving us the importance of the industry. Yes, they said relationship between, okay, relationship between the physical environment and the land use. So when you bring it out in form of a benefit, benefiting the people, then that would be another task, not exactly this other one.
Okay. So madam, how should I come out with it?
This one we are saying, one, you're talking about industrialization as the activity. You're even showing us the gentle slopes where the industry is located. And then you mention the evidence from the photograph. And then why do you think they chose the gentle slopes? Okay, why did they choose that site for easy construction? Okay, that is the reason you are giving.
Okay, thank you, madam.
You're welcome. I hope the others have also picked that one. The why bit of it, why did they choose that site would actually be the CU. Anne, no, before Anne. Gavin. Gavin.
Madam.
Yes. Good evening.
In fact, now, when I want to describe the photograph, I describe it when answering part B. For example, the back, the forward right, no, the right background, like such.
That is what we've said. That for part B, you have to refer to the photograph, and the only way we know you've referred to the photograph is by giving us the evidence using the different parts of the photograph. Okay, Liz. Liz.
Good afternoon, teacher.
Good afternoon, Liz.
Okay, I want to ask, are we allowed to trace? Are we allowed to trace the picture if we're not able to draw it?
Liz, someone already asked that question and I said no. You're supposed to draw. They've asked you to draw, not to trace. Okay? And if you trace by that, you're going to come up with a very small photograph, and even the features would be very tiny. Okay? Try to sketch out. I know you can sketch out and come up with something that looks like that industry or a tree or anything, okay? But try to draw, don't sketch. Anne. Anne, you've gone off. Anne. Anne, are you with
Teacher.
us?
Yes. So good afternoon, teacher, once again.
Good afternoon.
So I have an answer relating to Angel's question. So industrialization along the gentle slopes, because it is easy and cheap to construct.
Yes.
Maybe
But
in the
something is missing. What is missing?
the location.
The location is missing, which is our AP.
Okay, so industrialization in the left middle ground due to gentle slopes with because it is easy and cheap to construct. Yes.
But Anne, is that the left or the right middle ground?
The right middle ground.
So make sure you don't make that mistake, because now it can cost us our mark, yeah?
Yes.
Okay. Chief, your hand is also up.
Mine is a question, and at the same time a request. Madam, are aerial photographs examinable? Because I've never come across any in the mock papers. And if so, could you give us an example, one, how to approach? Yeah, that's it.
Okay. Are aerial photographs very common? Aerial photographs are not very common for O level. In most cases, we use them in A level, the aerial photographs. However, it is possible for someone to give you the vertical aerial photograph. Vertical aerial photograph, as much as you're seeing the features on the surface on top, but there are some areas where you'll be seeing them actually, the sides of the photograph. So usually that one can be given to you. But again, it is whatever they're showing you is on ground. So when it comes to drawing, they will ask you to draw a landscape sketch, not aerial photograph.
Okay.
People, the questions are many. I wanted us to look at another photograph. There is Kevin. Kevin has been there for some time. Kevin?
Good evening, madam.
Good evening.
I've been wanting to ask about the heading. So I never started with you guys. So I wanted to ask about the heading. How do you phrase the heading, as in the title? How am I to phrase it?
Joel, you've been here for some time. Give us the title.
I can help with that.
Okay. Is it Dorothy that is helping?
No, it's me.
Okay.
Like teacher told us that the heading, the task will help us with phrasing our heading. So we always have to look at the task. It will always guide us on what we're supposed to write in our heading, or what we should include in our our heading. That's what you say.
Yes. But Kevin, maybe the other thing that when you look at our task A, they're saying draw a landscape sketch of the area. So the word area must appear in your title. A landscape sketch of the area of the photograph showing land uses. Okay?
Okay.
If the word area is not there, area of the photograph, you miss out on the mark of the title.
Teacher.
Yes?
Okay.
Teacher, what about when I say that a landscape sketch of the area studied showing the different land uses in the photograph obtained from the tour?
You don't have to bring back the obtained from the tour. But in the photograph coming at the end, that's okay.
Yes. Okay, teacher.
Okay.
So what if they had given the name of the as in of that area when they had given us the name, for example, Kawala?
If they've given us the name of the area, now instead of writing the word the area, we put the name of the area. A landscape sketch of Kawala. Okay. Though it's again an area shown in the photograph. So even if someone said area in the photograph, it would still be okay.
Yeah.
But even the one who was given the name because it's there, it would be okay still. Joel,
Okay, thanks.
your hand has been up for quite some long time. Joel, are you there? Joel seems not to be there. Okay. Good
Good
afternoon.
afternoon, Madam. I wanted to ask that if we are given a photograph, for example, there is a forest, there are forests in different areas on the right, left, and in the background. We draw the forest once and we name it, or we draw where it appears and we name it.
You can draw it once in one area where it appears, okay?
Yes.
Because if you keep on drawing wherever it is, you might end up congesting the photograph that you're drawing. Okay.
Thank you, Madam.
Thank you. You're
Madam.
welcome. Patrick, you have another question?
Yes.
It's okay. Go ahead.
In this photograph, the relief we have mentioned are only 3. So, Madam, are they enough? Can they bring out all the marks?
Someone is saying that the relief we have mentioned is giving us only 3. Can they give us all the marks? I was about to clarify and say for part B, strictly minimum of 5 points. For part B, minimum of 5 points for you to be safe and maximum of 8 points if you can get them. Okay, in this case, when we look at our relief, it's a flat, gentle, and probably someone who said lowland. Okay, but we saw the different activities. Then at a certain point, I said industrialization can also be carried out because of the presence of the forest behind it that provides raw materials for this industry. Okay, so make sure at least the gentle slopes can come up with can be for forestry, gentle slopes for settlement, gentle slopes for industrialization. Okay.
Yes.
But I'm saying give us a minimum of 5 points for you to be safe.
Thank you,
And
Madam.
when I say minimum, that is a list that you can give, okay? But they can even be more than that.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you, Madam.
You're welcome. Cynthia? Someone, if you're not talking to us, mute your phone, please. Anne, yes? Anne?
So, teacher, I'm inquiring about, can I use road construction as a land use in the area?
Road construction, it should
Yes.
be transport. Transport is the land use.
Yes.
The feature is road, but the land use is
Transport.
transportation, okay? Or transport. If
Okay.
it appears in the photograph, if it's there, yes. But if it's not, please don't mention it. For example, the photograph before us, We are not seeing any transport route there. We're
Okay.
not seeing any road, okay? But
Yes,
if it
teacher.
appears in the photograph, then it's very okay.
Okay, teacher.
Kale, Mr. Kaziba. Mr. Kaziba is still
Yes.
there?
Yes, I'm
Do
there.
we continue or we stop here?
With okay, let's answer Eric and then you talk about the other photo.
Okay. Yes, Eric.
Teacher, can you give more than one land use for one physical feature?
Yes, you can.
Okay, teacher.
Okay. Let's before we even read the scenario, let them first look at that photograph. Dear team, can we look at that photograph?
Sorry.
How would you term that photograph? Is it a ground photograph or it's actually aerial? Ivan?
It's an angle area. It's an aerial photograph at an angle.
Okay, so that's maybe. Okay. Israel, what are you saying? I'm seeing in the chat someone is saying K is saying aerial photograph. Karen, I want us to be specific. Which type of aerial photograph is that? Abdallah.
Area oblique.
Aerial oblique photograph, okay? Now I think I've answered the person who was asking, is it possible for us to be given an aerial photograph? This was also some mock exam for certain school. Okay? And this is a photograph that they were given. From that photograph, again, they're asking them to draw. Okay? Draw a landscape sketch of the area shown on the photograph and on it mark and name. Here they've even identified. They've told them what they should put. Meaning that in our title, instead of saying land use, instead of saying anything, we are going to say the landscape sketch of the area of the photograph. Melan, people forgive me, I need to get to my charger. Where is my cable? My cable. Okay, I'm back. So here I was saying that in this kind of question, it is very clear that they're asking for certain features, an industry, any vegetation type, and then communication route when you're drawing. And therefore, our title should be saying a landscape sketch of the area of the photograph showing an industry, vegetation type, and a communication route. Are we together? Yes, D.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I was just inquiring. Yes, yeah, thanks so much. I just landscape landscape sketch of the area on the photograph, showing the physical and human.
So here, what is the physical and what is the human? D, if you say that it is showing us the physical and human, then we might ask for which one is the physical and which one is the human. And Nasos.
Teacher, I have a title. A landscape sketch of the area shown on a photograph showing an industry, vegetation type, and communication mode.
True. That is the best title that we can give, okay?
Yes, teacher.
Okay. Then you go into drawing. We are seeing that so many buildings of the industry. Are we going to draw everything, all those buildings? Someone in the chat is saying we show only one. Doreen, what are you saying? Doreen? Anita is also saying we draw only one.
Teacher.
Yes.
So I think you draw.
We draw like how many? Okay, I want to advise, okay, that because the building are so many, I would propose we draw at least two, not only one, because there are many, okay? Draw two buildings. Then they talked about any vegetation type. Which vegetation types are we seeing?
Trees.
Okay, we are seeing trees. Are we only seeing trees? Is there someone who is going to draw
Excuse me,
grass?
teacher.
Yes. Yes, Doreen.
Is it okay? Okay, like if you first group them into, you put them into boundaries. Okay, the photograph into boundaries. Then you put
Definitely
one industry in the middle ground or the other one in the. Okay. Thank you.
Okay. You definitely start by drawing the boundary of the photograph. You put the different parts, like we said. You demarcate them off. And then the industries, we said we can draw two of these buildings, okay? We can put them in the different parts or we can have them close to each other, those that we have decided to draw. Because one, we can actually see the side view of these buildings, and then we're also seeing the rooftops of the buildings. Okay. Daughter? Daughter, are you there? For vegetation, we said we are mainly seeing the trees, and then someone else might talk about grass. When you look at the middle foreground, there's some bit of grass there. Yes, daughter.
Madam, my question was, first when we did that paper at our school, yeah, I drew the pictures very well, but like I didn't the industries. I drew like three, but then they told me that I have to complete all of them. And then
Your teacher was also so strict, because if you're going to draw, how many buildings, first of all, are you seeing? Have you tried to count them?
No.
Yes,
There
there
are
are so
many.
many. Okay, there are so
Yes.
many. So if I choose, when I draw two, I'm better off than someone who is drawing only one. Okay.
Okay.
But when you see the different parts, you can see in the middle ground, we have, in the background, we have some of them. We also have also in the foreground, okay?
Yes.
Because at the end
Then,
of the day, that would be one mark.
oh,
Hmm.
okay. Then, madam, what about the 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 space which is left bare? For example, in the right middle ground, there are some parts which are bare when there's no.
Because remember, we also have compounds, okay? I can
Yes.
see that behind those buildings, we also have some bit of compound there. And even some, I don't know if it's a car that is parked, but there's something that is parked there, okay? So you
Yes.
definitely, even on your photograph, leave it when it's bare.
Yes.
Hmm.
Thank you, madam.
Maybe I should emphasize that one building cannot represent an industry, okay? Usually an industry has many, so make sure you have at least 2, 3, 4, okay? Angel, you have a question?
Excuse me, madam. About the industry, you say that if you are drawing, at least we should use 3/4 of the page. But if you are to draw like 3 buildings or 3 things that represent the industry, I think that will be something very small on the 3/4 of the page.
That would be very small.
Yeah, like
Then
that
if
would.
remember, you also have the communication route, which we are all seeing, specifically in the middle, what is that? The left middle ground and then left background. That is a
Madam,
communication route that they're talking about, okay? So if I'm putting that side, the communication route, then I put my trees in probably the different areas, then I focus on the middle part, and that is where I'm putting the industries or the industry.
madam,
Yes.
the other question is, when do we use this table for like 4 areas where there is the top, bottom, the left, bottom, the upper, is it that 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 table that is not like this one that you have drawn in, the other one that has 4?
It actually, it should be having 3. I don't know why you think it has 4, but it should be having 3, and that is usually for the aerial photographs, okay? Usually when we're mentioning the type, what is it? The parts of the aerial photograph, we use top, middle, and then bottom. Instead of saying forward, middle, and then background. Okay? I know most of our teachers have talked about top, bottom, and middle. But at the end of the day, even when it's an aerial photograph, in this case, they're asking you to draw a landscape sketch, something that is on the ground, okay, not above the ground. And therefore, it is going to be things to do with foreground, middle ground, and background.
Okay, madam, and the other question is, I had this saying that the fore the foreground, I thought the foreground is this one where the industry is starting from, but what you're saying, it was like the end, like the other side where the industry ends, and then there is some vegetation, some other stuff. I thought the foreground is this one where the industry starts from, where the picture, that
Where the
one,
picture
madam.
starts from, the front part of the picture, yes, it's the foreground. I talked about that one when I was directing you to where the grass is in terms of vegetation, because they said any type of vegetation. So someone can choose to draw the trees, but someone else can choose to draw the grass. And I was trying to direct you where I'm seeing the grass. In the middle foreground, there's that green part.
Okay. So, madam, I can't draw both the grass and the trees.
It is okay. You draw it and represent it on your photograph, okay?
Okay. Thank you, madam.
You're welcome. Who else is there?
Madam, my question was, can we specify the type of grass? Let me say short grass or thicket or scrub. When you specify the short
Kindly say
grass, okay.
grass. If you can clearly see
If you put grass,
and you say it's a thicket, it's okay. Okay?
okay,
But then
yes.
it is just grass. You don't have to say short grass, long grass. It's just grass.
Okay, thank you so much.
Isaiah?
Yes, teacher.
Yes.
Sorry for taking us behind, but I wanted to know on the heading. In the question, there is the ones that they need in the photograph. There is any vegetation type. So when you're writing your heading, for example, when you're saying landscape sketch of the photograph showing an industry, so on the vegetation type, do you also put any vegetation type, or you just say vegetation and then communication route? Are you supposed to specify the vegetation type you're going to put in your landscape sketch in the heading, or you just put
No,
vegetation?
don't specify. Just say vegetation type. Even the word any
Okay.
should not be there.
All right, thank you.
Govern.
Question me, madam.
Yes.
Madam, I just pardon, I just would like to know the type of photograph.
This one we agreed and we said it's aerial oblique photograph. Why is it
And now,
aerial oblique? It's because the reason is because some of the buildings you can see the side view of these buildings, and then others were seeing top. Aerial oblique, you see the side view of the different features.
now, madam, what my confusion about? Because in the aerial photographs, we only we only draw four parts. Now it means that if the question is demanding to draw a photograph, it doesn't matter how many parts you have drawn in the photograph in order for you to sketch it.
I've just talked about what you're asking, and I said, even when they have given you an aerial photograph where you use top, bottom, middle, and etc., okay? The question requires you to draw a landscape sketch. You are drawing what is on ground, not what is in space. I don't know if you
Thank
get
you, madam.
me. So it's a ground photograph, and therefore you have the three parts.
Okay, madam.
Okay, who is this one now? Catherine. Catherine.
Okay, my question is on the if a feature is covering both the middle ground and the background, how do you describe it?
How do you describe it?
Yes, if it's
Where
covering
is
both.
the biggest part of that picture? Is it mainly in the foreground or it's mainly in the middle ground?
If it's both.
If it's both you choose where the biggest part of that picture is or that feature. For example, that other building that we are seeing. Part of it seems to be in the middle ground, the tall one, the tallest building in that photograph. Some of it seems to be in the middle, some of it seems to be in the background. So where is the biggest part of that feature? Will help you to determine. Okay. People, I told you we don't have to name the different parts of the photograph. We can only demarcate them off using a faint line or a dotted line, okay? Don't label them, because if you go ahead and label them, you take up the space that you would have used to label the different features. Those lines are just to guide us, okay? Okay, you have a question? Your hand is up.
Thank you, madam. I just wanted to ask when they be like draw a landscape sketch showing the geography of the area. What do you do? And this question also applies on both. Does it okay? What you're going to tell me, does it apply also for maps and photographs? Because I really get
Maps and
confused when
what?
they ask photographs, when they ask for, like when they ask the question saying draw the geography of the, like draw, I don't know what that, showing the geography of the area.
Draw the geography of the area. The geography of the area is mainly
everything.
the relief. But it could also be to do with the drainage. It's still geography. Even human is still geography of the area. So that one, someone would have put it when the question is too general. So you are safer drawing all the features that are there and you label them.
Okay, ma'am.
Techno?
No, wait,
Where
you
is the
can.
communication route? If you look at the photograph, it was even clearly circled by Mr. Kaziba. Look at the left side, you'll be able to see it. It's the communication, it's transport and communication. So that road that we are seeing is the communication route. Anita? Anita, are you there? D? Mr. Kaziba, I think people are just putting up their hands. They're not responding. Margaret, do you have a question?
Definitely.
Someone who has a question, please put up your hand. Yes? Someone who please put up your hand. Yes?
Just asking in case I've given you to make the session type communication, like you aside and name during the photograph.
D, your network is not clear. I've missed out on some words.
Definitely.
Yes.
Definitely. Yes, sir. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon.
So I was asking in case they have told you to name like 2 vegetation types, 1 communication line. Like after drawing the photograph, can you go aside and make a key like of the vegetation types, the communication type?
Don't make a key. You just label trees, grass. Then I'll know that those are 2 types of vegetation, okay? Industry, communication line, okay? Just label on the photograph. We agreed and we said you don't need to have a key on the photograph. You don't need to have a compass direction on the photograph. Margaret?
Madam, good afternoon.
Yes, good
I was
afternoon.
I was asking that when we are drawing the final photograph, is it allowed to put those demarcation lines or we just draw them on the question paper?
Um, we said that when you are drawing, some people have been told to demarcate off the lines, okay? So if you are
Yes.
demarcating off the lines, it's okay. That's why I've been saying they should be very faint, okay?
Okay. Thank you.
Then a villa. Villa. Oh, sorry, Anita had a problem with her microphone. She was muted. Should I go to the next person? Nura? Mr. Kaziba, am I still on?
Yes, Teacher Flavia.
People are not responding, so that makes me think I'm not on.
Nora, you can go on. Okay, I think because they're unmuted, but I'm not also getting them.
Madam,
Yes.
I would like to know if it's necessary to indicate the type of photograph.
No, you don't have to indicate the type of a photograph unless if we've asked.
And is grass part of the vegetation
Yes, it
type?
is. Yes, it is.
Okay. Okay, thank you so much.
You're welcome. Gloria? Gloria, are you there? Okay. I think, Mr. Kaziba, we can end here.
Okay, Teacher Flavia, you can give them your summary and yeah.
Okay. So, one, we said that usually the photograph has 2 parts, but it's very possible to have 3 parts, okay? If we have 3 parts, maybe they will score 1 out of 4, the other one out of 4, and the other one out of 4 to give you out of 12. So when you're drawing a sketch, make sure you have a complete sketch. Actually, now I'm saying that you're better off drawing everything that you're seeing in the photograph and you label, and then they choose. However, be sure, are they asking for features or they're asking for land use or relief? If it's relief, you want to things like lowland, flatland, valley, steep slopes, gentle slopes, hills. That is what we should be seeing. If you're asking about vegetation types, bring out the different vegetation types. So one thing you must know, read the task and understand what they're asking for. If they ask economic activities, if there is a road, it is not a road, it is transport. If there are crops, don't say crops, it is farming or crop growing as an activity. So you really need to understand what the task is asking for, and that is what you should be writing. Because if they ask for land use and you say road, crops, trees, etc., with a very well drawn photograph, you only have the CKs and then you fail the APs. So kindly make sure you understand the task, put the different features that are required, label the photograph, and make sure you have a complete title. Part B, first of all, you need to understand what the question is asking for. But bottom line, give evidence from the photograph. Whatever you give us the point, the explanation, and then the evidence from the photograph, and we shall be good to go. Thank you very much for attending the lesson. I wish you all the best in your final exams. Unless if there's something pending, Mr. Kaziba. Mr.
Okay, just
Kaziba?
saying here and some question. What is the maximum number of points to give for part B?
Part B, I told them that minimum should be 5, maximum 8.
Then someone is asking about the scoring. Madam, is it true that our paper is marked strict out of 16?
No, it is actually not marked out of 16. It is marked out of 46.
Okay.
It is out of 46 because it's 12, 12. There's a question of 11, and then I think there's 11, I think there are 2, and then 12, 3, like that. So it's out of 46.
Okay, I think these ones you have answered. Yeah. Okay, then those asking for the recording, we shall share it. Let's put a key instead of writing on.
Mr. Kaziba, before Friday, if there's anything they want us to discuss, should be after 2. I can have a session for them.
Before Friday this week?
Before Friday, because I travel on Friday. Actually, I travel Thursday night.
Thursday night. Thursday night.
Yes.
Okay. Let me just confirm to them that day we can have it. Let me where we can fix
And it
job.
would be very good for me to know which area they want me to handle, whether statistics, the part 2 of the section B.
Okay. So, you can put in the chat the section you want the teacher to support us with. Okay. Okay.
Section B has 2 parts, part A and part B. Which one specifically? Item 3 and 4. Part A, apart from map work is needs when we have the map. Statistics, yes, that is the part B, I think, that I need to handle. Okay, Mr. Kaziba, we shall do part B, but I think I also need to mention something on map work, yeah?
Okay.
Even without, I might share with you a certain map. Then we share the screen on that one, and then probably I tell them some of the things they need to focus on.
Okay, Teacher Flavia. Yes, I don't know, Teacher Flavia, will Tuesday work for us? Tuesday or Wednesday? It will depend on your time.
Let's do Tuesday. Tuesday, actually, after midday, I'll be free.
Okay, okay.
Got
Okay,
it.
thank you so much,
You're welcome.
Teacher Flavia, and thank you so much, everyone. We shall post the recording. Yes. Those with questions? Yes. Okay, bye-bye.